Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing very well today. So today's video I'm excited to do because, as some of you may have known, I was actually on a makeup no-buy for the month of January, and I'm happy to report that I was very successful in doing that. I didn't purchase any new makeup. I did have an exception, which was eyeshadow palettes, because as you may know, I was super into eyeshadow palettes last year, especially indie eyeshadow palettes. And so I was going to allow myself to purchase any new eyeshadow palettes that I was interested in, but I only purchased two, so I'm really happy about that. I purchased the Bella Beauté Bar Realm of Fairies palette and then the Simply Posh Cosmetics Snow Angel palette. I have yet to get the Snow Angel palette because it was a pre-order, so I'm really hoping that I will get that by next week. But it is now February and I've purchased some things and I'm just so excited to test them out for you here on camera. I didn't pick up that many products, so I'm really excited just to kind of have these new, just select few items in my collection and just being able to kind of play around with them. So let me share with you what I picked up. So a non-makeup related purchase was the new Ariana Grande fragrance. This is the Cherry Eclipse perfume. And I did just get the travel size. That's usually what I do whenever I'm picking up fragrances, because I do not fly through fragrance like maybe some people do. And so I just picked up the travel size. The packaging is very cute. I love this pink bottle. And I do like this fragrance. It's kind of like, it's not as cherry as I was expecting, which I guess can be maybe like a downfall for you, but I do like it. It definitely is not a medicinal cherry. It's not an overwhelming scent of cherry, but it's a very light kind of cherry scent, but I do smell some of the other like florally notes as well as a little bit of muskiness. So I am super, super happy with this one so far. Let me quickly pull up the notes for this fragrance because I'm sure some of you may be curious. Okay, so it says here that the top notes are black cherry jubilee, sugared honeysuckle petals. The heart is natural jasmine absolute. And then the dry down is glowing amber warm musks. So definitely the fact that it was a cherry scent as well as a amber scent, I had a feeling I would like this one. So overall, I'm very happy with it, and I really love Ariana Grande fragrances. So I am definitely okay with purchasing it blind buy because I'm usually really happy with her scents. Next up, which is a product I'm going to go into right now, is this new foundation from Milani. And this is the Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Skin Tint Stick. I did pick up the shade 05. I hope it works for me. I'm honestly a little bit concerned because it definitely looked like it was maybe a little bit, like a smidge too deep, but we'll see if I can make it work. I tend to prefer things to be a little bit deeper because I feel like they're easier to work with that way. So this is going to be the foundation that I'm using. I will say that the product comes with a clear topper, so that's, I guess, expected to be put back on. And then there is a pretty like significant seal here on the cap. So I feel like they're taking measures to ensure that this does not dry out. So I would recommend just replacing the lid once you're done, like the actual clear cap. But I'm going to just apply this all over the skin. I did already go in with primer, and I used the Benefit Professional Light for my primer today. So I'm gonna go ahead, as you can see, I just swiped some on. I'm going to use a sponge because that is my preferred method of applying foundation. However, I do have my brush ready to go just in case, but I've seen that people have been able to apply this. No, this is not working. Okay, so I was just about to say, I've seen that people have been able to apply this with a sponge, but I brought in my brush. This is the Rare Beauty foundation brush, which is really good, by the way. So I've heard great things about this foundation, which is obviously why I decided to pick this one up. I do hate how expensive it is. This foundation was $16.99. I did do buy online, pick up in store, so I was able to get 10% off, and I did that intentionally because I didn't have any other coupons. Okay, so this is pretty light coverage in my opinion. I feel like looking up close, which let me do that. I feel like looking up close, I can still see a bit of redness popping through. I actually feel like the shade is okay because it is a lighter coverage product, but I do want to build this up. I feel like I definitely need more coverage in certain areas. Something to note is I do feel like this is a very, very creamy stick, which is always nice because I feel like that allows it to just like be easy to blend and also sink into the skin maybe a little bit better. So I'm excited about this formula for sure, but I was expecting a little bit more coverage, so I'm a little bit disappointed in that. But obviously this is a first impression. I still will need to play around with this one even after today to get like my final thoughts on this product. Okay, so let me go ahead and share with you how it looks. So that definitely did help with the coverage. I will say that this is definitely buildable. I don't know how much additional coverage you'll get if you keep going, however, but I'm happy to report that this was able to build. I do feel like this shade 05 actually worked okay for me, so I'm happy to report that. I also don't feel like this is clinging on to any dry patches, which is really nice. I don't have dry skin, I have combination, but I can get a little bit dry around my nose and around this area, and I don't notice it clinging anywhere particularly. So I'm actually really happy with this so far. I feel like this is going to be a beautiful everyday foundation, like something that you can wear to work type thing. So I do want to go in with more coverage. So I'm going to go in with the ABH Magic Touch Concealer. This is just what's in my everyday makeup drawer currently. I haven't forgotten. I do need to update that, I know. I'm actually hoping to film that today or tomorrow. So hopefully you'll be seeing that one pretty soon. I'm not sure if I want this video to go up first or my everyday makeup drawer. Probably the everyday makeup drawer, because I feel like that actually does kind of have a schedule to it because it's monthly. But yes. So I was happy again that I was able to keep with my makeup no buy. I'm happy that I did it as well because my husband and I think I've shared this in other videos, my husband and I are on a pretty strict budget with ourselves because we're trying to pay off some debt this year. Just debt that we've accumulated from just not being the most cognizant with our money. And now we're kind of paying for it. So I hate saying that, but it's just true. You know what I mean? And it's not like we don't make, neither of us make six figures, nothing like that. So, and I'm not really making anything, like I am making stuff on YouTube, but I haven't even gotten my first check from YouTube yet because you actually have to make $100 before you actually get your first check from YouTube. So even though I've been monetized for a little while, I haven't actually gotten any income yet from YouTube. So there's that. But anyways, I feel like because I've been on a pretty strict budget, I feel like that's actually worked out in my favor, where I've been more selective with my makeup purchases. Actually, technically, I haven't actually experienced that yet because I was just on a no buy. But I feel like even with my palette purchases, I only purchased 2 things, and I think it's because, again, I wanted to use my money for other things. You know what I mean? Like we went to the movies. We've done other things, like one of our favorite things is going to markets. Like we've done that, you know? So I feel like I'm excited for this year and what it has in store as far as like for me and like my makeup consumption. Like I'm curious to know if it's going to change drastically. So yes. Also, another new product, I was kind of on the fence about this one. I was actually considering not buying it at all, but I felt like it made the most sense for my channel because you guys know how much I love the Rare Beauty liquid blushes. Well, they came out with liquid contours and I just felt like it made the most sense for me to pick one up. So this is kind of like a I'm curious in it type purchase, but also I feel like it would make sense for me to review it. So this is the Soft Pinch Liquid Contour from Rare Beauty. I did decide to go in with the shade Mellow. I'm super happy that they had this in stock because it didn't look like it, but then I asked a Sephora employee and she helped me out. So the packaging is bigger than the liquid blushes. I actually feel like these are the same size as the liquid highlights. You do get 14.88 milliliters. So there's still, I feel like, a ton of product in here. So yes, Mellow, I want to say was the second to lightest shade. But I also feel like the first shade would have worked for me too. This one is more of a warmer toned. And so I didn't want to go too cool toned, because again, I wasn't sure how it would look on me. So I just did a few dots and we are going to blend that out with my favorite bronzer brush. This is the Real Techniques Soft Sculpting Brush, and it's the the 450. So swatching this in store, I have to say it definitely felt very serum-y, which I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that. I tend to prefer something that's more like moussey than serum-y. I don't know. I just feel like sometimes when they're serum-y, they can lean a little bit more oily, like in texture. But I have to say, I mean, that blended really nicely. I mean, that blended in like nothing. So I think that that's really pretty. But I do think that the formula, just after initial like swatch and application, I do feel like the formula is different from the e.l.f. So I don't know if e.l.f. was, obviously they created their liquid bronzer first, but I don't know if these are gonna be comparable because the Rare Beauty definitely feels more like a serum than it does a mousse, if that makes sense. Like it's very, very thin in texture. And I'm curious to know how I'm going to like this bronzer because I feel like the liquid blushes have also gone into that serum-y texture. And I noticed it when I picked up, you know how she released like, I think it was like 2 or 3 new shades of her blushes, and it was the shade like Virtue and Worth. I picked up one of the shades, I think it was Virtue that I picked up, and I actually didn't like that one, like at all. And it's so funny because my friend El Negs here on YouTube, he actually said the same thing, that he didn't care for that blush from Rare Beauty. And I think it's the formula, like I think they changed it, and it's similar to what this feels like, which is very, very like light and thin in texture and just kind of like oily. Like you can see how quickly, don't mind my dry hands, but I mean, I don't know. I just don't know if that is my preferred formula for cream and liquid products, mainly liquids. But I mean, I have to say that blended out so easily, and I think it looks really pretty. I feel like my concern with that formula type though is if it's serum-y, if it's oily, is it going to lift up foundation? And I can't tell, but it kind of looks like it did right here, but I don't know. It could just be my skin. It could be the new skin tint. I mean, there's so many different factors. That's the thing to keep in mind with tinted moisturizer or with first impressions. So yeah, but I feel like that looks pretty good. I do. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just off camera apply some of the steps that I don't have new products for. And then we will go into back into the new products, if you will. Okay, so we are back and I did a few steps off camera. So I did go ahead and set my entire face with this CoverGirl Clean Fresh pressed powder. I do have the shade Fair in this one. I'm trying to finish it up. You can see how much I have left. I don't have a lot. So this I use to set all over the face as well as underneath the eyes. And then because I was wanting some more like bronzer, I wanted to layer the bronzer as well as of course my blush. I did go in with my Hourglass Face Palette. This is the Evil Eye shade, which is the second one. And I obviously went in with the bronzer and then I mixed this blush as well as this blush for my blush today. And then this is the highlight. Oh no, this is the highlight on my skin. So I really love the way that that looks. And then in my brows, I have been using one of my holy grails. It's from Wet n Wild. This is the retractable brow pencil and I do wear the shade medium brown. I love this brow pencil so much. And then for eyeshadow primer, I did go in with this. I've had this in my collection for some time. I think I got it at TJ Maxx a while back, and it's the Sigma eyeshadow primer base. So it's just a shadow stick, like a primer shadow stick. And this is in the shade Sorbet. I have really been impressed with the longevity of my eyeshadow when I use this. So I use this today as my primer, and again, I think it's been working really well. So now let's go back to some new products, and I want to report back, by the way, on the fragrance. I really love this. It's been on me throughout this entire video and I'm just getting whiffs of it and it smells so good. So I actually really do recommend this one. And then I do want to put on a lip balm because I did purchase a new lip balm from Ulta as well. And it's one of the new ColourPop lip balms, the Fresh Kiss Glossy Lip Balm. And I picked up the shade Strawberry Milk. I have been really into anything strawberry scented lately, so I did pick this one up. And I am still testing this out, of course, but I have to say, I don't know if these are comparable to the Summer Fridays. I hate to say that because I want to be able to recommend, like, you know, alternatives for you, but it does seem different in my opinion. Also, I don't love this scent of strawberry. Like, this is not really what I was wanting whenever it's strawberry milk. I mean, I guess you could say it's kind of spot on to what strawberry milk would smell like, but I don't know. It's not giving me like that strawberries and cream that I've been loving, but that's okay. So here's what the applicator looks like. It genuinely does look like the Summer Fridays lip balm. But for me, it's the way that they cling to the lips that doesn't remind me of the Summer Fridays. I feel like the Summer Fridays are more moisturizing. They last longer as far as the actual like moisture. I feel like these, they stay on, but they stay like, it's almost like they get sticky after a while. I don't know. I don't hate it. I've only tried it one other time. No, it was like 2 or 3 other times that I reapplied it. So I put it on, this was the same day, and then I reapplied it. And again, from that experience, I can't safely say that this is a dupe because I use the Summer Friday ones all the time and I don't notice that like kind of like sticky residue feeling later on. I feel like it just fades away and it's just gone. But I feel like with this one, it left a little bit of like that sticky feeling, which is really weird. So I don't know, I will keep testing this one out, but I do think everything else, like when it comes to the packaging, the applicator, I do think reminds me of the Summer Fridays. Okay, so for eyeshadow, I seriously had no business picking this up, but the curiosity killed the cat. I could not stop thinking about it and wanting to play around with it. This is the new palette from e.l.f., the new Tin Pan palette, and this is in the shade Keep It Ethereal. And as you may have guessed, this is supposed to be similar to the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes eyeshadow palette. And it does look very, very similar, and I've heard amazing things about this eyeshadow palette. So let's test this one out. I want to do something like beautiful, but also not too like glam or extreme. So I think what I want to do is go in with, I think I'm gonna go in with like this lighter kind of like peachy pink color and start applying that into the crease. So from what I've heard about these palettes is that e.l.f. has really stepped up the game when it comes to their eyeshadow formula. That's what I've heard. So I'm curious to know if that's my experience as well. I don't have any issues with e.l.f.'s eyeshadow, but I wouldn't, you know, call it a high-end formula by any means. But I've heard that this is definitely comparable to the Makeup by Mario. And what's funny, and maybe this is where the curiosity came in, I actually don't love the Makeup by Mario palette. Like, I don't love it. Like, I think it's good. It's just, it's not, it hasn't become a favorite like it has for everyone else. Like, I feel like it's very hyped and I don't quite understand the hype, in my opinion. Like, I feel like it's not holy grail status like it is for so many people. So I feel like that's another reason that I was so curious about this one is it going to kind of give me that feeling like this e.l.f. one? You know what I mean? Like, maybe I'll like this one more. Because I feel like with the Makeup by Mario one, it's just the mattes for me. The shimmers are beautiful. It's the mattes. The mattes are what I don't like. Now, out of just genuine curiosity, I want to put on this shade, which is the shade right next to it. It's kind of like this peachy toned. You know what it reminds me of? Orange Soda from ABH. Do y'all remember that? So I kind of just want to put this in the crease as well. And I'm just curious, like, what is this going to do? Because that previous shade was beautiful. Like, I really liked it. I'm not sure if it did much, but that's okay. Like, I'd rather it do little than like completely change the look. I just was kind of wanting to test out another matte shade for sure. Okay, so far, it's beautiful. I only used 2 shades though, so there's that. Now I do want to build up the crease, and of course I'm going in with my rougher. This is my 01 brush. I love it so much. It's actually really dirty, so I apologize. But I want to go ahead and go in with this deeper brown shade and apply that in the outer corner. I was thinking about going in with like the second to deepest shade, but I was like, you know what, let's just go for it and start building that depth. Okay, so the depth built up really, really nicely. I'm really liking this deeper brown shade. I think it's super pretty. And now for the best part, I do want to go in with a shimmer, of course. I'm going to go in with my NYX glitter primer. As always, you already know. And we are going to play around with one of these just beautiful shimmer shades in this palette. I want to say this is a 10 pan palette, and the Makeup by Mario one is, what is it, a 12 pan palette, 15? So it is a little bit smaller, but I feel like if you get the gist in this palette from e.l.f., you know what I mean? Like, you're getting the overall vibe of it. I feel like you're not really sacrificing too much in comparison to the Makeup by Mario, so I do really enjoy that aspect. I feel like e.l.f. did a great job at keeping to the color story and without sacrificing too much from the like OG palette, if you know what I mean. Okay, now I do want to go in with one of the shimmer shades, and this is going to be so difficult because I really want to play around with this shade here, but I also kind of want to use that one. So I'm not sure. So here are the 2 shades that I was considering. This one actually felt really dry, so I'm curious to know how it's going to apply. And then the more like taupey looking one actually felt pretty soft. So we're gonna start with the taupey shade in the middle, like kind of like closer to the crease or like the outer corner, and then apply the lighter shade on the first half of the lid. Okay, so here's what the eye is looking like. I have to say, for as scratchy and dry as that shimmer shade felt, I think it is applying pretty nicely. I have to say I'm actually like kind of impressed. I think it looks really pretty. Do I think it's gonna look as beautiful as the Makeup by Mario? I don't think so, but I think this looks, it looks good. I do. So now I'm gonna do the same thing to the other eye, of course. Okay, so here is the finished eye look. I think it looks really pretty. I'm almost curious if you need to like scratch off this top layer of this shade because it does feel kind of scratchy. So that's a little bit disappointing, but I'm gonna go ahead and apply some mascara and a lip product, and then we will get back into, like, I'll go over my thoughts. Okay, so I am back, and the glare on my glasses is really bad. I realize that, so let me take them off for a little bit, but here is the completed look so that you can see the eye look. Overall, I think it looks really pretty. It's just, I feel like it kind of took a little bit of a journey for me to get there, not gonna lie. I did go in with a mascara, of course, the Lash Blast Cleantopia from CoverGirl, and this is actually the Extreme Black Frost shade, but I don't notice a whole lot of frost going on, so there's that. All right, so let's go over some of these new products, okay? Firstly, the Milani Conceal and Perfect Foundation. This is, of course, the skin tint stick. And I actually feel like this is really, really pretty. I think it's sitting on my skin really nicely. Now keep in mind, I literally applied this not that long ago, so I'm going to have to test out a few things like wear time, like how is it going to wear throughout the day? Is it going to break up at any certain point? So I will try to remember to just kind of like keep note of how my makeup is wearing throughout the day. But so far, so good. I love that it was buildable, that I was able to kind of layer it nicely. I also loved how creamy it was. I will say you do have to use a brush, to be honest, to use this because it is a stick product. So keep that in mind. As far as the next new makeup item, the Rare Beauty Liquid Contour, I do have the shade Mellow. I will have to keep testing this one out because I don't love the texture too much. I've gone over this in length in today's video about the fact that this felt more like serum-y and a little bit oily in consistency, and I don't know how much I prefer that in a liquid product. And I really hope that this isn't, like, I feel like this is the direction that she's going, and I don't love that thinner texture. So I will have to keep playing around with this one. It applied beautifully, but I feel like under studio lights, things tend to look really good. But then whenever I'm actually getting ready, I feel like there's more of a possibility that it's going to pick up and lift the foundation underneath. And I want to test to see if that's going to do that. If it is, I will probably return this because I have so many other liquid bronzers that perform so good. So the jury is still out with this one. I have to keep playing around with it, but right now I can't really give it my approval because I need to keep playing around with it because it's a formula that's a little bit questionable for me when it comes to a liquid contour, liquid bronzer. The next new product was the Fresh Kiss Lip Balm in the shade Strawberry Milk. This is from ColourPop. And I have to say, even with this one, I like it, but I don't think it's comparable to the Summer Fridays. Now, keep in mind, I've only used this a handful of times, so I do need to keep using it. But I feel like if you're looking for a strawberries and cream scent and you're hoping that this would give that to you, I do not think so. This is definitely more of like a strawberry, like artificial kind of strawberry scent. It's not so much like a creamy strawberry scent, if that makes sense, which is actually what I've been loving, not this scent that's in here. But the reason I don't know if this is comparable to the Summer Fridays is because I feel like when I wore this for a longer period of time than I did today, I did notice that it was a little bit sticky on the lips, like it left that sticky kind of base or feel on my lips, which was really odd. I don't experience that with the Summer Fridays. So needless to say, I need to keep testing this out to gather my thoughts, but I do think it is a nice lip balm at the drugstore, but I need to see if it's still comparable to Summer Fridays because right now I don't think it is. Then we have the eyeshadow palette. The matte's beautiful, so nice. I had such a great time with the mattes. This taupey shade also is very pretty. And I have to say that this shade is a little bit underwhelming. I'm kind of disappointed in it. I will maybe get some tweezers or like scissors and maybe scrape off that first layer and see if that shade gets any better. But right now it is a very dry, kind of scratchy shade, and I'm really disappointed. It's still picked up on the lids, but nowhere near as pretty as I feel like it could be. So I'm gonna try scraping off that first layer and see if that helps. This shade felt really nice and soft, so I have high hopes for this one, but the mattes so far are really, really good. I was more concerned about the shimmers, to be honest. I had a feeling the mattes would be okay, and that is exactly my experience. The mattes were really good, built up nicely. It's more so the actual shimmer shades in here. So again, still need to test this one out, but so far I think it's pretty good. I didn't even tell you what's on my lips. This is a Merit lipstick, and this is in the shade Late Avenue. I think it's super pretty with this look, but that is everything that was new. Of course, I kind of already talked about like the Ariana Grande fragrance and how I feel about it so far. I think it actually smells really good. So I feel like if you like cherry, if you like ambery kind of musky notes as well, or you've really enjoyed Ariana Grande fragrances in the past, I think you might actually like this fragrance. So just want to let you know about that one. But if you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, I would love for you to subscribe and be a part of my YouTube channel family. Thank you so much for watching, and I will go ahead and see you in my next video. Bye.